Hi everybody, it's me, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS. It is a software that if you have a high school athlete that thinks they can play at the collegiate level or wants to play at the collegiate level, use our software, and based on their academic information, the sport they play and the level they want to play, we'll show them all of their options and opportunities. So this one's going to be really different. I'm actually purposely doing this before the college football games start. I usually do it different times of the day, or even on Sundays I'll do it sometimes early in the morning. But I wanted to do this one because today we're going to talk about Deion Sanders and the University of Colorado Buffaloes. And I'm going to have a different take on this because I've gotten so many questions surrounding them, and not in the way that you would think. So I'm going to break this up into two parts. One, I'm going to talk about my take on his approach, and then I want to do something. I want to do a take on the coach Deion Sanders himself. Okay, so let's talk about the approach. And this is what was interesting to me, and this is the message I've been giving out. Now, I've been talking to you guys, if you're going back and look, about improving yourself as an athlete. This is why it affects high school athletes, which is where we're focused, and on youth sports in general. I always tell you guys, if you go back and look, I talk about improving your game, I talk about evolving your game, and then I talk about evolving the game. And so those are kind of where I want you guys to be thinking as you work out in the summer, or as you improve your game during the season, as you play the game. So what does that mean? And this is perfect illustration of it outside of high school sports or youth sports, that it's about your life. You're going to do this for the rest of your life. And so let's take Coach Sanders really quick. Now, when he came to the University of Colorado last year, if you looked at their season, 2022 season, they were 1-11, I think, or 1 and whatever their score was, whatever their thing was. They only won one game. And so this year, after the first game, because this is the second week, he's already matched that, right? He's already won one game. And so if he was on the path to improve the team, it's probably where I would have probably gone with this thing. But I thought this was interesting because here's the thing about Coach Deion. He knows who he is. So even from Jackson State, where he came from first, even when he was coaching in the youth, from what I understand, he doesn't do steps. He goes from here to here because he's all about this excellence. So let's look at if he would have been the kind of coach that it would have been for improving this team. So let's say he took this team, the players that are already there, and he turned them into a 7-5 team. That would have been a success in 1 year to the next year, and then he could have went to 10-1 or 11-1, whatever it would have been, right? That to reverse that in about 2 years. I think he could have done that very easily. He's just that kind of guy. But that's not who he is as a coach. So what he did was, and if you guys don't know the background story, he came to that school, and 70% of the players that are playing right now for him were not on this team last year. He completely changed out the roster for that team. And from what I understand, and I don't know enough about it, I just did a little bit of research. It looks like there were about 20 kids from last year that he felt just weren't going to get there. And he had that meeting with them. Look, you don't fit where we're going, where we're doing. You're great kids. And I don't know what the school did for them. Did they let them just stay there? Did the kids transfer out? All of that stuff, I'm not sure. But the rest of the kids just did not fit the mold. They didn't want to be there, so they removed themselves. Now, when people talk about this, the people that like Coach Sanders will say, oh, yeah, they could have stayed there. They could have worked, fought for their position and all that. But the people that don't like him say, no, that's just a subtle, a wink and a nod. You might want to move on because I don't think you're going to beat the people I'm bringing in. So it was kind of that world. At least that's the way I see it. So I don't know everything that's going on there. But he could have taken those kids and tried to improve them, improve the team, and move step by step by step. But here's the second thing that this could have been. We talk about evolving your game, and I think that's where he was on this. He wanted to make that complete switch, right? He's moved them from into a top 25 percentile. They were supposed to lose that first game by 20 points, and they won that game. The team, TCU, that they played against, played in the college championship game last year. I know they lost some people too, and that's like an excuse everyone's using. I don't get that, but he was not supposed to even be close in this game, and he won the game. That, folks, is evolving the game, evolving a game, your game, the team. He evolved that team. He didn't improve the team. He evolved that team. It's on everybody's talking list this past week. National, regional, local. That's all everybody's talking about. That's how you evolve. And I just kind of want to tie that into the stuff that we were talking about before. And everybody can do this in their life, I believe, if that's what they want to do. You could just be a person. And when I said just, that is me. I would have been more on the line of, okay, let's take these kids and see if we can move them on. That would have been my test of how do I approach, can I do this no matter where I am? Can I get us and keep moving forward? But it would have been a slower process. Or with his personality, that's not who he is. And so when he came in, he's just an evolver. He's just like, hey, we're going to go from one and whatever to whatever and maybe one at the worst. And he's trying to go undefeated. He's trying to win the national championship. And that's who he is as a person. But there's another piece to this. And this is the one where I talk about evolving the game. And even as an individual player, you can do that for your high school team, for your travel club team. Can you evolve the game? Can you make the game different? There's only so many people in the world that can do that. And this is what he has done already. So he's taken, remember the changes in college sports, right? There's the change for the transfer portal that just came in. And so you can be with the transfer portal, right? You can get in, you can change schools, all that stuff's going on. The NIL, the name, image, and likeness, those rules just came in. And so now he's going to take his kids and move them. They'll probably make as much money in college as they could have made in the pros if he does the things the way he wants to, especially those star players. And he brought a bunch of star players, including his son, over to this team. And his personality, he's going to bring that in, which means he's going to have an advantage when he goes out to recruit the next few years. As he goes to recruit, you want to go play for him. If you're that guy, if you play that way, where you want to be with a person like him, with that personality, with a team that's just moving, that's transcending the sport, you're going to his school. Well, no matter where he is, but you're going to his school. And University of Colorado, God bless them, they weren't in that position, and they weren't going to be in that position probably ever without him going there. That's where I've talked about you're evolving the game. He's just changed the whole game for college, the whole sport, college sports, because now you're going to have coaches doing that. And here's the other thing he did as far as evolving the game. He's got a player on there that plays both ways. You don't hear that. I mean, every now and then you'll hear about that, but he doesn't even blink with it. And so this is going to start happening more and more and more. Not just playing both ways like in football, and I'm sure there's other sports where that could take hold. But it's going to be kids that are going to play multiple sports. You watch. They're going to come in, and now they're going to say, hey, I want to play this and this, because we had gotten to this focus, this very narrow, you're this. You can play the other thing recreationally, but you can't play it on that level. Kids are going to start asking to do both now. And so they're going to be a double threat. And it's going to give them a better opportunity to move forward and play the game they love and the game they could possibly go pro in. They can do both of those things. And even at the lower levels, people will come in. I guess what he's done is he's taken the lid off of what's possible. And that's how you evolve the game. He just evolved college sports, period. So those are two different levels on the way he evolved it. And this is just my opinion on everything that's going on. And I think this is what's more important about what he's done, other than maybe they'll have a winning program and he's kind of shook everybody up and everybody's nervous about him coming in because he's a very brash person. And so his personality can be off-putting, or it can be really just dynamic. You just can't take your eyes off the guy and when he's doing something. And so that's who he is. But as I was watching some of the stuff that, some of the interviews, some of the things he's doing, and I went back, and then on, I think on Amazon or Netflix, there's a show I was watching last night, getting prepared for this on him, and I'm listening to him speak. He's got another level. And so I've told you guys before, my dad was really big in the social scene, and especially with youth. He had a youth center for years in South Central LA. And I used to go there when I was younger, not so much as I got older, and went out on my own. But my dad used to always lament, and this was mostly for the young men. He was always concerned with the young men. There's a bit of angst in young guys when they don't know what their future is. They don't have a path. And when they got to be teenagers, you could see that if you didn't do everything that was right in elementary and junior high, people just, for young men, for some reason, people just discard. It's just like they don't exist. Like, do the best you can We don't have time for you. Not so much for the young ladies as much. There were always extra programs in place to kind of right the ship for them, but not for the young men, especially the ones that kind of got in a lot of trouble, right? It just put them off. And as I've gotten older through the year, the last couple of years, right as we were coming out of that pandemic, and even before we were going into it, I was going to more high schools to talk about the software, try to get the software. And I was having some efforts. We're doing so much better now. It's not even funny. But I started to notice kind of the same thing. The young men, and this goes across all demographics. It's not a race thing. It's not a wealth, money thing. It's not an area of the country. It's not rural. It's not urban. That's not suburban. All young men, there's something that feels off about them and thinking about their future. I don't see that eagerness to get out there and prove yourself to the world. There seems to be a lull here. And so I wanted to bring this up for Coach Sanders just as a person, as sort of where he could be. I think the University of Colorado, they did the right thing, right? The Pac-12 is blowing up. I think they're moving on to somewhere else. And all the other teams are gone. There's only 2 teams left in the Pac-12 as is. I'm sure they'll fix this and they'll write it and some other people will come in. But right now there's only 2 teams left out of the Pac-12 period. But what I think Deion Sanders is too big for University of Colorado. He's going to grow out of this. I know his son is there, so he'll stay as long as that needs to be. But they had to do what they had to do. It was a great move for them. But they gave him the keys to the university. And this could easily backfire on them long term. Short term, they're going to have a great run. They're going to make a bunch of money. They're on the map. It could be a little bit of that Boise State thing. A few years they had this team that was rising, that was shocking everyone for a few years, and they did what they needed to do. And I think this same thing could happen to the University of Colorado. So they're going to have to be really careful that they plan for post Deion Sanders. And if they do that right, it could be just fine. But he's bigger than that. And in fact, to me, he's bigger because you hear now that he could replace Saban, or he could take the LSU job, or all of these kind of stuff. Like he could move up in the college ranks. I think he's bigger than college sports, to be perfectly honest with you. If you sit and listen to who this guy is, he's bigger than college sport. And I'm not giving him a pass on his approach to things. That's just who he is. I'm okay with that because everybody's a little bit different. But I think he's bigger than college sports. And so what I think, and then I hear little rumors, and I can see it too, he could be a great politician. He could win an election very easy because he makes you believe in you and as far as you can go. And one of the things I always talk about is if you want to be successful in sports even, you have to be the best version of yourself in that sport. And so he makes kids believe in being the best version of you. He's not a guy that breaks you down and builds you up, like let's say the military, or if you went to law enforcement. They break you down and then they build you back up. He doesn't do that. He keeps pouring into you. He takes what you are already and he pulls out what you are if you believe in yourself. So he doesn't take away. He just keeps adding to what you already have. That's rare. Very few people in the world can do that. Did not have to destroy you to get you and mold you into something. He said, hey, you're already there. It's already there. I see it. That's why you're here with us. And so now we want to pull it out. And you're going to have to go the extra mile on your own. But I'm going to help you pull it out. I'm here with you, but I can't do it for you. You're going to have to do it yourself. That is rare. Trust me. You don't see that very often. What he could do, he could go into politics. So that could be another level for him. And if I was going to start a football league somewhere, I would bring Deion Sanders as my main coach, and I would give him a piece of the league, and I would say, he's with us. We're going to bring people in, and we're going to change the world. We're going to challenge the NFL, that kind of thing. If somebody was around doing that, that could be another level for him. But I think he's bigger than even that. I think he's bigger than sports. I think he's the guy that could go in, and he could take all the young men. He could create a program that is about building young men to be the men of the future, what we need as men of the future. And by the way, this is going on in countries all around. It's going on in China. It's going on in Russia. It's going on in India. It's going on in everywhere. In the U.S., it's happening too. Our young men aren't feeling themselves right now. They're not going out to conquer the world. They're going into the world with already defeated in a way. A lot of them. I'm not saying for everybody, but I see it because when I go and do some of the talks and things like that, it's almost like, well, you know, what am I going to do? You can't buy a home. You can't, the world just feels like it's against them, right? It's like, how do I get there? And the sense of, if you didn't do everything by the book, then you don't have a chance. You can't fix it. You can't make it up. And I always tell everybody in our family, all the kids in our family, they already know, if I come in and I'm talking to them, I go, you're never stuck. Never believe you're stuck, especially in the U.S. There is no reason for you not to be able to do anything that you want to do. But anyway, so I'm getting off. So he's that guy. He could change the world moving forward for the next few years. What he could do right now, if he decided to do that, he could come in and he could give all of these kids, and it could be male and female, but I'm concentrating on male because I see kind of, there is nothing next for you. You better figure it out, or you get a cardboard box and you're downtown somewhere, or you're living at a very low level for no reason. And all of that talent, all of that ability is just sitting there and it's going to waste because somebody couldn't pull it out. And we're just not set up to pull it out after a certain level, especially once they get out of high school. There's nobody there to pull anything out of you. You go handle it. If you didn't do what you're supposed to do, figure it out. You know, there's not a lot of programs for them after that age. Before that age, there's things there and people have to guide you to them, but they're not there. And so I'm getting a little bit off track here, but I think he's that guy. I think he has that level where he could actually change definitely the youth in the United States, but I think he could do it worldwide. You listen to that guy talk, you're ready to go run through a wall yourself on what he's doing. And it's not just like a motivational speaker. It's not that kind of thing. It's more of I keep pouring into you. I don't know why you're not doing what you're supposed to do. It's already there. And then his words and the way he approaches things makes you pull it out of yourself. And again, anyway, that's where I think that is. So anyway, so I wanted to touch on that, improve, evolve yourself, and then evolve the game and take it away a little bit from you as an individual and show you how someone would do that with a whole, like a team, like in a different level. And then that you can do the same thing in your life. That I think is the most important part. And so I wanted to kind of get that across, and we'll see how he does. Maybe he only wins the one game, and then this thing goes down in flames. But I think you only have to win that one game. You only have to shock the world one time to prove that this can be done. And he's already done that. And if he does it again as he moves through the season, like if he won the championship, it's over. The only other person I've seen close, and I'm not putting him in that category at all, was Muhammad Ali. And I was a little kid at that point, very little, didn't get it all, but the guy had magnetism. And I knew boxing, right? We watched him box, and that's what he was all about. But he was bigger than that. Now, Deion Sanders is not Muhammad Ali. He changed the whole world just by, and what he put on the line was everything to get his point across. So that's a little bit different. But he got the world talking, and he had the world motivated. And even the people that didn't like him, didn't like his politics, didn't like the way he was doing things, they still rooted for him. That brashness that he had about what he was going to do, and then he backed it up. That kind of is the same thing. But his effect on people was bigger than the sport, and bigger than what he did. It was who he was. And I think Deion Sanders has a little bit of that. He's not that level, in my opinion, but he could be. And he's close, because he's just getting started as far as I can see. But anyway, so I just kind of wanted to throw that out today. I'm going to go spend this weekend and hang out with the family. And I'm going to take next week kind of off. And then when I come back, we're working on some really cool projects. And I want to shore them up. I thought I would have everything done this past week. And close. I just need confirmation on a few things. And that's what I was going to talk about before. But then this Deion Sanders thing popped up. Everybody kept on writing me and asking questions. People were calling up. And I went to an event, and that's all they were talking about. And I said, you know what? I think they may be missing the real point of what is coming out of this thing. And so I wanted to talk about it a little bit too. Anyway, best of luck to you guys as always. If you look down below, I've got, I give you a code, and I give you instructions for how to use the code to use our software at absolutely no cost. So if you have a high school athlete in your life, use the software. It's great software. We've been doing some updates. I'm going to completely upload the new updates in the next week or two. And then it'll update the coaching and stuff like that. So you might find a few coaches that are off there, but it's been harder and harder to do it because we've been adding some other features to the software at the same time. And we added the high school version to it this year too. So that update is taking a little bit longer than it normally would, but we're almost there. We'll have it for you guys. And so I want you guys to pay attention to that. And then in addition to that, the code that I've been giving you guys, I've added a code for YouthSportsMagic. So that is one where I'm going to move in towards the 5-year-olds to 10-year-olds, that age group, maybe up to 12-year-olds. I got some stuff going on there. So if you're interested in what we're doing for the future, go ahead and use that code if you don't have a high school athlete, but you want to follow, because I'm not going to do it on this channel so much. This is about AthleticSOS and the software and high school athletes in general. But I'm going to move into that other area. I'm building that out now, and some of the things that we're trying to do. And I think you'll find it very, very interesting. We're going to move forward. We're going to use sports to change these kids into our future leaders, our future everything. And I want them to do it in a way where they're going to have a great, remarkable, magical life. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that as we move forward. Okay, guys, as always, best of luck to you in all your endeavors, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.